welcome back to Book Club Preview. Today we're looking at Death in the Clouds, chapter 11 and 12. Now, this chapter starts off, chapter 11, with the American. And we don't know who this guy is until the end of the chapter. But it starts off with Fourier and Perrault talking to this door guard, George. And Fourier is asking George the same question over and over and over again. George is like, man, this is just like the police. They keep asking the same question, waiting for you to lie, so that way your lie will agree with what they need to agree. Fourier is getting a little upset. Perrault cuts in and says, hey, you know what? Let's take a step back. And the question that Fourier's been asking George is, there was a lady that came to visit Madame Giselle. We don't know who it is. And George is like, what does this lady look like? Was she tall? Is she short? Could you see her again? And the guy's like, I don't remember anything. Nothing. Even looking at all the pictures, nothing. Now, Perrault starts to ask him, but he shows a sketch, a picture of the Countess of Hornbury, Cecilia or Sissy, I can't remember, but this Countess of Hornbury, and she used to be an actress. She's really beautiful, but I don't know where he gets this sketch. At first, I thought it was a sketch from the guy that's like drawing the people, so that way you can show them what they look like. Because I didn't have photographs necessarily, I guess. But he has this sketch. I can't remember where he got it from, but if you remember, please let me know. And the sketch is of the Countess in a swimsuit, okay? So it's a swimsuit, a bathing suit. And he says, oh, does this help you remember? And when George sees it, he kind of hesitates, and they kind of comment a little bit. And Perrault guesses that George is a very... who wants to protect women, who says chivalrous. So this beautiful countess, he wants to protect her, so he doesn't want to say anything that might hurt her from the police. He's trying to protect her from the police. But as Perrault gives him this picture and he sees his reactions, he can guess that he recognizes her, and this is who she's trying to protect. Now after this, they go and have lunch, and they look at the black book again. And I want to actually look at these entries because we have some really big clues here on maybe who or what could have happened. Okay, this black book. And there are 5 entries that Fourier and Perrault seem to agree that are suspicious. And I'm trying to pull them up right now. Where are they? There are 5. Oh, I think I'm in the wrong chapter. Sorry. Here we go. 11. Okay. CL52. We have no idea what those mean. English peeress, husband. Okay. So we can guess that's talking about Countess Hornbury, which Fourier and Perrault look at. And Perrault thinks that this is the person that was there. And it seems suspicious that he's there, that she is there. And Perrault says something really curious, and this connects to my discussion question. He says, okay, so she, I'm reading from the book here. She, which is Countess Hornbury, followed Madame Giselle to Paris from Le Poney, says Fourier slowly. It looks as though she were pretty desperate. Yes, I fancy that may be true, Perrault says. Fourier looked at him cautiously. But it does not square with your private ideas. Square means fit. Eh? And Perrault says, my friend, as I tell you, I have what I am convinced is the right clue pointing to the wrong person. I am very much in the dark. My clue cannot be wrong, and it dot dot dot, it doesn't seem to mix. And for my discussion question, what I'll ask later is, what do you think Poirot means? We have the right clue pointing to the wrong person. Well, they go to the next entry. A doctor. This is RT362, Dr. Harley Street. Who is the doctor? What does Harley Street mean? Could this be the dentist? Could this be the physician? Could this be someone else? Okay. What else do we have? MR24, forged antiquities. Antiquities are like old things, so like fake old pottery. Well, this could be the Duponts, but they have such good character. How could we suspect them as being forgeries or tricksters? Poirot says, well, most tricksters start with a good reputation. So, don't know. XVB724, English embezzlement. Okay, that could be everyone except the Duponts, which are English, or I guess Poirot also. Embezzling, which is maybe taking money and hiding some of the money that people trusted you with for your own benefit. And then the last one is GF45, attempted murder, English. So there's someone that attempted murder that they know that Miss Giselle knows about, and they're English. So they look at this list, these entries, they have some clues, and they kind of talk about who might be what and who might be who. They don't have a lot of information because these are kind of coded, but they decide to go interview some more people. So Poirot goes to visit actually not Poirot. Fourier starts to go visit the antique dealer. So they had a guy call in. Oh, this is Mr. Giles. Hold on, Mr. Giles. Okay, sorry. The antique dealer's next. Mr. Giles is a worker for the airline. What is this? Universal Air, I believe the airline is. So Poirot wants to go to Universal Air to ask this guy a question, Monsieur Giles. And Monsieur Giles has already been interviewed, but Monsieur Poirot says he was interviewed already, but maybe not with the right questions. Well, Monsieur Giles is another police officer. That's why I got confused. Sorry, he's another detective. Poirot's met with him for a while. They're chatting together, and they end up talking about the case a little bit. And Poirot's like, Poirot was like, my stomach was sick, and so I was sleeping on the plane, and then this murder happened while I was sleeping. So that's kind of like a challenge to me. Okay. While Poirot is talking with Monsieur Giles, Poirot comes and says, we have a lead. There's this antique dealer, Monsieur Zeropoulos, who sold a blowpipe and some darts. So they go meet this guy. They talk to him. He sold this blowgun and these darts to an American. Okay, now this is where the chapter comes in, the American. And Monsieur Zeropoulos couldn't recognize him again. He can't describe him that well, but he was American. He talked from his nose, I guess, American sounding, and looked American. But when he talks about the blowgun that was sold to the American, the darts were of a different color than the ones that they found in the airplane. The airplane, the darts were like black and yellow, looking like a bee, but the ones Zeropoulos had were red. So the cloth is a little different, could be suspicious, could be false evidence. Okay, we don't know. But as we continue on this. As they finish up talking with him, they go to see someone that Poirot wants to talk about. This is Jules Parrot, which he worked for the Universal Airlines. And we find out that an American came in. His name is Silas Harper, and paid Jules to tell Madame Giselle that the morning flight was booked and that she has to take the noon flight. And this guy said, I want her to take the noon flight because I want to sit next to her and talk to her. And Jules just allowed it because he thought there was no harm in it. And then he found out the murder, and now he was worried. And he didn't tell the police this, but he ends up telling Poirot because Poirot guesses it and kind of makes him confess. So this American's name was Silas Harper, but he was not on the flight. He was supposed to sit in seat number 1, but he never showed up. Okay, and it might also be a fake name. And Poirot says that he's not actually sure if this person was actually American, because to a French person, it could be easy to disguise an American. He says he was chewing gum, he had tortoiseshell glasses, he was not very tall, his voice was in his nose, so he was not French. But that sounds strange to me because I think of French people as having their voice in their nose. So, maybe it was not. His voice was in his nose. I don't know. But Poirot thinks that maybe this was an actor because Countess Horbury was an actress. Could there be some connection? We don't know. But maybe it'd be a little too hard for her to pretend to be a guy, a tall guy or slumped over. So Poirot's not that convinced that it was her, but Poirot doesn't think the American was an actual American. He thinks someone was acting or pretending to be one. That leaves us with Hornbury Chase, which is the Countess Hornbury goes to Hornbury Chase, where Count Hornbury lives, and we find out that their marriage is terrible. The Count was in love with Miss Hornbury from the screen. She thought she was amazing, but then they got married and he found out, wow, she's really terrible. So they actually don't even live together anymore. He feels trapped in a marriage. He can't get out. And the Countess is kind of cunning and tricky, and so she kind of has him locked in this marriage where she's getting money and care, but then they don't have any love between them. And we also learn that the Count thinks maybe the Countess, because she likes to gamble and lose money, maybe she had a loan from Madame Giselle, but she says he didn't. He goes for a walk, and while he's on a walk, he meets Vignetta Kerr. And so Vignetta Kerr and the Count have been friends for a long time, and he tries to tell his suspicions to Vignetta, but Vignetta says, no, I don't think she did, and I don't think she killed her, because I would have noticed, and she would have noticed if I killed her. And so the Count feels a little bit better, and then he says, if I was free, would you marry me? And the Count, or Vignetta says, yes, I would marry you. And she says, but why don't we just run off together? And why don't you divorce her? And the Count says, no, I could never do that to you. But if there's some way for me to get out of this marriage, I would do it, and I would marry you. Now Vignetta starts to ride away. She's on a horse, and as she's on her horse, she sees Hercule Poirot, but she doesn't realize it was him until she gets home. That's how the chapter ends. Okay, really quickly. Oh my goodness, vocabulary. Irritable means annoyed. Forestalled means stopped. Embroils means mixed together. So embroils is there was a murder and the police come talk to you about it, and now you're wrapped up or mixed in this murder situation, kind of like that. Swindler is a fake, so this seller of these items, he's selling like fake items. He has maybe some real ones, but he also has a lot of fake ones. Incommoded means bothered, irritated. Foible is like a problem or a weakness or this kind of unique thing that you do that is maybe not good. Obstructing means blocking. And priggish means superior. So the Count of Hornbury, I can't remember his name, he's a little priggish, a little superior. I'm a little better than everyone else. Okay, he has this attitude a little bit. It's priggish. And the last word here is farce. Farce means a lie or an act. There's some pretend, like the Count and the Countess marriage is a farce. Okay, even though legally they're married, they're not happy. They're not living together. They're not doing any of the married things. They're never going to have kids, for example. It's just a pretend. That leaves us with my discussion question, which I already kind of said, is what does Perrault mean by this expression? We have the right clue, but it points to the wrong person. What do you think he means? And what is the right clue, and who's the wrong person? And of course, please make your own discussion question. That is all the time that we have for today. But thank you so much for joining me for this episode of Book Club Preview. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.